Does it matter? I'm your husband on paper. I never promised you fidelity.
He couldn't go 48 hours without cheating. A man so addicted, even a wedding ring meant nothing. His virgin bride stood at the altar believing his past was behind him. She was wrong. The first betrayal came within days of their honeymoon, and when she confronted him, his answer would shatter her in ways she never saw coming. Welcome to K-fairytales stories, besties. Please like, share, and subscribe. Isabella Kingsley had heard the rumors about Kang Min-ho long before she ever met him. Everyone in Seoul's elite circles knew the youngest son of the Kang family empire couldn't keep his hands to himself. Hotel heiresses, actresses, models, journalists, his conquests read like a society page casualty list. But when her father's company faced bankruptcy and the Kang family offered salvation through marriage, Isabella had foolishly believed love could reform him. She'd been raised on fairy tales where the good girl saved the bad boy. She was about to learn that some men didn't want saving. They wanted permission. The wedding was beautiful. 300 guests at the Shilla Hotel, cherry blossoms imported from Japan, a dress that cost more than her father's annual salary before the bankruptcy. Min-ho stood at the altar in a custom Tom Ford suit, devastatingly handsome with his sharp jawline and eyes that held secrets she couldn't read. When he lifted her veil, his smile was perfect. Practiced. She should have recognized it then, the smile of a man who'd charmed 1,000 women before her. Their first kiss, as husband and wife, tasted like champagne and lies. The honeymoon in the Maldives started like a dream. Min-ho was attentive, almost tender. He held her hand on the beach, ordered her favorite foods without asking, watched the sunset with her like he actually cared. But Isabella noticed things. The way his phone buzzed constantly and he'd silence it without looking. The way his eyes tracked every woman who passed their villa. The way he'd disappear for hours claiming business calls. On their third night, she woke at 2 a.m. to find his side of the bed empty. The bathroom light was on, door cracked open. She heard his voice, low and intimate, speaking Korean too quickly for her to catch every word. But she caught enough. "I miss you too, soon, when I get back to Seoul." Isabella's heart stopped. She lay perfectly still, pretending to be asleep when he returned to bed 20 minutes later. He smelled like cigarettes and guilt. When he pulled her against him, she felt like she was suffocating. The next morning, she said nothing. She smiled through breakfast, laughed at his jokes, let him take photos of them for Instagram, the perfect newlyweds. She was already learning the first rule of being married to Kang Min-ho: never acknowledge what you know. Denial was safer than truth. They returned to Seoul a week later. The Kang family compound in Hanam-dong was a fortress of wealth and secrets. Min-ho's parents occupied the main house. His older brother and sister-in-law lived in the East Wing, and Isabella and Min-ho were given the West Wing, a sprawling apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Han River. It should have felt like a palace. Instead, it felt like a very expensive prison. Min-ho went back to work immediately. Vice president of Kang Industries, though everyone knew his position was mostly ceremonial. His brother Seung-jun did the real work while Min-ho played at being an executive. He'd leave for the office at 9 and return at midnight, reeking of whiskey and perfume that wasn't Isabella's. She'd be awake, sitting in the dark, counting the hours since he'd left. "Did you have dinner?" she'd ask, her voice steady even as her hands shook. Business meeting ran late, the same excuse, every single night. 3 weeks after their wedding, Isabella found the first piece of evidence. A receipt from the Park Hyatt Hotel, dated 2 days ago, a suite reserved under his name. She stared at it for 10 minutes, trying to convince herself there was an innocent explanation. There wasn't. That evening when he came home, she was waiting in the living room. The receipt sat on the coffee table between them like a grenade. Min-ho saw it and his expression didn't change. That was somehow worse than anger or guilt, the complete absence of reaction. "Who is she?" Isabella's voice was surprisingly calm. He poured himself a drink. "Does it matter?" The casualness of his response stole her breath. "Does it matter? You're my husband." "I'm your husband on paper. I never promised you fidelity, Isabella." He took a long drink, watching her over the rim of his glass. Our marriage is a business arrangement, your father's company for my family's name. You knew what you were signing up for. I thought you'd try. I thought after the wedding you'd at least try. Minho laughed, bitter and sharp. Try to be someone I'm not? I can't go 48 hours without it, Isabella. It's who I am. The sooner you accept that, the easier this will be for both of us. The words hit her like physical blows. She'd known about his reputation, but hearing him admit it so bluntly, with such complete lack of remorse, destroyed something in her chest. Then why marry me at all? Because my father demanded it, because your father needed saving, because it was convenient. He set down his glass. But don't mistake a marriage certificate for love or loyalty. I'll be discreet. I'll come home. I'll play the devoted husband in public. That's all you get. Isabella stood on shaking legs. I won't live like this. Then leave. His eyes were cold. But your father's company goes down with you. The contract was very clear. She felt the trap close around her. He knew. He'd always known. This marriage wasn't salvation. It was a cage with velvet walls. She walked to their bedroom and locked the door. For the first time since their wedding night, they slept apart. The next morning, Minho was gone before she woke. No note, no apology, nothing. Isabella spent the day in their apartment, trying to understand how her life had become this. Her phone rang constantly, her mother calling to gush about how blessed she was, friends asking about married life, society reporters wanting interviews with the new Mrs. Kang. She ignored them all. That evening, Minho's mother came to visit. Choi Jae-yoon was elegant and cold, with eyes that saw everything and forgave nothing. She sat in Isabella's living room like a queen granting an audience. My son came home last night. Isabella's hands tightened in her lap. I'm aware. You locked him out of his own bedroom. He was honest about his intentions to continue cheating. I was honest about not wanting to share a bed with him. Jae-yoon's expression didn't change. You're embarrassing this family. Whatever happens between you and Minho stays between these walls. In public, you are the perfect couple. In private, you do what countless women before you have done. You endure. Why should I? Because that's what we do. Jae-yoon stood, smoothing her Chanel skirt. I endured my husband's mistresses. My mother endured my father's. You're not special, Isabella. You're just the latest woman to marry a Kang man. Either accept it or leave, but stop making scenes. After she left, Isabella cried for the first time since the wedding. Not delicate tears, but ugly, desperate sobbing that left her gasping. She'd been so naive, so stupid. She'd thought love could change him. She'd thought being a virgin bride would matter to him, that giving him something pure and untouched would inspire him to be faithful. Instead, he'd taken her innocence on their wedding night with the same casual indifference he took everything else, and gone right back to his rotation of women who knew how to please him. A month passed. Then, too, Isabella learned the rhythm of her new life. Minho would come home late, sometimes not at all. When he was home, they barely spoke. He slept in the guest room. She slept alone in their massive bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if this was all her life would ever be. She tried to build a routine, volunteering at the family foundation, taking Korean language classes, attending the endless society events that came with being a Kang wife. At every event, women would look at her with pity or contempt or satisfaction. They all knew. The entire city knew Kang Minho was still sleeping with half of Seoul. At a charity gala 3 months after their wedding, Isabella stood in the bathroom reapplying lipstick when 2 women walked in, not realizing she was there. Did you see Minho leave with that actress? Not even trying to hide it anymore. His poor wife, she actually thought he'd change for her. Please, men like him never change. She's just the legal wife. The others are the ones having actual fun. Isabella's hand shook so badly she dropped the lipstick. It clattered into the sink. Bright red like blood. The women saw her and went silent, fleeing with whispered apologies. She stared at her reflection. Her dress was beautiful, her makeup perfect, her smile practiced. She looked like someone else entirely. She found Minho at the bar, laughing with a model she recognized from magazine covers. His hand was on the small of the model's back, his smile genuine in a way it never was with Isabella. Something inside her snapped. She walked up, her heels clicking against marble with each purposeful step. "We're leaving." Minho turned, eyebrow raised. "We just got here." "Now." Her voice carried steel she didn't know she possessed. He studied her for a long moment, then excused himself from the model with a promise to call. They didn't speak during the drive home. The moment they entered their apartment, he turned on her. "Don't ever embarrass me like that again." "Embarrass you?" Isabella laughed, the sound slightly unhinged. "You were openly flirting with another woman at a charity event where every photographer in Seoul could see you. I'm the one being embarrassed. I told you what this marriage was. I told you I can't change." "Can't or won't." He stepped closer, and she smelled expensive cologne mixed with someone else's perfume. "Does it matter?" "It matters to me." Her voice broke despite her best efforts. "I'm your wife, Minho. Doesn't that mean anything to you?" For just a second, something flickered in his eyes. Guilt, maybe, or pity. Then it was gone, replaced by that familiar cold indifference. "It means you're legally bound to me and I to you. Nothing more." Isabella slapped him. The sound cracked through the apartment like thunder. Minho's head snapped to the side, a red mark blooming on his perfect cheekbone. They stared at each other, both shocked. Then he grabbed her wrist, pulling her against him with enough force to knock the breath from her lungs. "Don't ever do that again," he said quietly, dangerously. She should have been afraid. Instead, she felt alive for the first time in months. "Or what? You'll cheat on me? Oh, wait, you already do that." His grip tightened. They were so close she could see gold flecks in his dark eyes, could feel his heartbeat against her chest. "You have no idea what you're asking for." "I'm asking for the bare minimum. Fidelity, respect, to be treated like I exist." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "To be seen." Something changed in his expression. The cold mask cracked, revealing confusion beneath. "You want to be seen." "I want you to want me." The truth escaped before she could stop it. "Even if it's just once, even if it's just pretend. I want to know what it feels like to be desired by my own husband instead of tolerated." Minho released her wrist, stepping back like she'd burned him. "You don't want that." "Why not?" "Because I'm not made for wanting one person, Isabella. I'm not capable of it. You'd be setting yourself up for disappointment." "I'm already disappointed." She met his eyes. "At least if you tried, I'd know it was possible. Right now, I just feel like I'm not enough. Like there's something wrong with me that makes me so easy to ignore." He looked at her for a long moment, really looked at her. "There's nothing wrong with you." "Then why?" He turned away, pouring himself another drink. "Because you're pure, you came to me untouched, unspoiled, and I don't know what to do with that. The women I'm with, they know the game. They don't expect anything beyond what I give in the moment. But you," he stopped, "you expect me to be something I'm not." "I expect you to try." "What if trying isn't enough?" He faced her again. "What if I give you everything I have and it's still not what you need?" Isabella moved closer, drawn by the vulnerability in his voice. "Then at least I'll know you tried." They stood inches apart, the air between them electric. For the first time since their wedding night, Minho looked at her like she was real, like she mattered. His hand came up, hovering near her face without quite touching. "I'll hurt you." "You're already hurting me." He cupped her cheek, thumb brushing her bottom lip. "This is a mistake." "Probably." She leaned into his touch. "But I'm tired of being ignored in my own marriage." He kissed her then, and it was nothing like their chaste wedding kiss. This was desperate, hungry, all the frustration and anger and loneliness of 3 months pouring between them. Isabella grabbed his shirt, pulling him closer, and for one perfect moment she felt wanted. Then his phone rang. Minho pulled away, breathing hard. He looked at the screen, then at her, and she saw the exact moment he retreated behind his walls again. "I have to take this." "Don't," she caught his wrist. "Please, just this once, don't." "I have to," he answered, speaking rapid Korean as he walked toward his room. The door closed. She heard him laugh at something the caller said. Isabella stood alone in the living room, lips still tingling from his kiss, and realized nothing had changed. He'd kissed her like he meant it, looked at her like she mattered, then chosen someone else the moment his phone rang. She was still invisible, still unwanted, still just the legal wife. The next morning, Minho was gone before dawn. No note, no acknowledgement of what had happened between them. Isabella found a jewelry box on the kitchen counter, diamond earrings worth more than most people's cars. His apology, she supposed, as if expensive gifts could replace actual presents. She threw the box in a drawer with all the others. 3 months of marriage had produced quite a collection. That afternoon, Isabella received a call from her father. His voice was warm, grateful, completely oblivious to her misery. "The company is thriving again. The Kang investment saved us. I know this marriage wasn't what you dreamed of, but you've sacrificed so much for this family." She wanted to scream that she'd sacrificed everything for nothing. Instead, she said, "I'm glad the company is doing well, Dad." After hanging up, she stared at her phone. Her entire life had been reduced to this, a transaction. Her virginity and dignity traded for her father's business. She was a commodity, not a person. And Minho had been honest about that from the start. She was the one who'd been naive enough to hope for more. Later that week, Minho's assistant called. "Mr. Kang requests your presence at dinner tonight, 8 o'clock at Mingle's. He'll meet you there." Isabella almost refused. Almost. But she was tired of hiding in the apartment, tired of giving him the power to make her invisible. If he wanted to play devoted husband in public, fine. She'd play devoted wife. And maybe, just maybe, she'd make him remember she existed. She wore red, a dress that hugged every curve, cut low enough to be sophisticated but high enough to maintain dignity. She left her hair down in soft waves, applied makeup with precise care, and put on the diamond earrings he'd given her. If she was going to be arm candy, she'd make sure she was expensive arm candy. Minho was already at the table when she arrived. He looked up, and for just a second his careful control slipped. His eyes traveled over her, something dark and hungry flickering in their depths before he caught himself. "You look beautiful." "Thank you." She sat across from him, accepted wine from the sommelier, and met his gaze with practiced calm. "Why did you want to have dinner?" "Can a husband take his wife out?" He could if he'd ever done it before. She took a sip of wine. "So what's the real reason?" Minho's jaw tightened. "My father is hosting a family dinner this weekend. He expects us to present a united front. I thought we should practice being civil to each other." "Ah, another performance." Isabella set down her glass. "And after dinner, will you go to whoever called you the other night, or is there someone new already?" His expression shuddered. "Isabella." "I'm just trying to understand the rules, Minho. You said you'd be discreet, but discreet implies hiding it. You're not even trying." She leaned forward. "Do you know what they call me at society events? The virgin bride who couldn't keep her husband interested. They take bets on how long until I give up and go back to America." Something flashed across his face. Anger, maybe. Who said that? "Does it matter? They're right, aren't they?" She gestured between them. "This marriage is a joke. I'm a joke. The naive girl who thought she could reform the infamous Kang Minho." "You're not a joke." "Then what am I?" she challenged. "Your wife, because you certainly don't treat me like one. Your friend, we barely speak. Your business arrangement. That's the only thing that makes sense." Minho reached across the table, catching her wrist before she could pull away. "You're more than that." "Then show me." Isabella met his eyes. "Because right now, I'm just the woman you come home to when you're done with everyone else. And I'm tired of waiting for scraps of your attention." He held her gaze for a long moment, his thumb tracing circles on her pulse point. "You want my attention." "I want to matter." "You matter more than you know." His voice dropped. "That's the problem." Before she could respond, someone approached their table. A woman in her 30s, beautiful in an expensive, maintained way. She looked at Minho with the kind of familiarity that made Isabella's stomach turn. "Minho, I didn't know you'd be here." He released Isabella's wrist, his expression transforming into polite distance. "Sujin, this is unexpected." Sujin's eyes slid to Isabella, cataloging and dismissing her in one glance. "You must be the new wife. How refreshing." Isabella felt the claws beneath the compliment. This was one of them, one of Minho's women. She forced a smile. And you must be someone my husband used to know. Oh, we still know each other quite well. Sujin's smile was sharp. Don't we, Minho? The silence stretched too long. Minho's expression remained neutral, but Isabella saw the truth in his lack of denial. Her chest tightened. She stood, grabbing her clutch. Excuse me, I need some air. She walked out of the restaurant before either of them could respond, her heels clicking against marble with each step. Outside, the night air was cold against her skin. She'd left her coat inside. She didn't care. She just needed to breathe. Isabella, Minho's voice behind her. She didn't turn around. Go back to your dinner and your friend. She's not, he stopped. It's complicated. No, it's simple. Isabella finally faced him. You're still sleeping with her, probably slept with her this week, maybe even today before you came to meet me. His silence was confirmation enough. I can't do this. She wrapped her arms around herself. I thought I could. I thought I was strong enough to be the understanding wife who looked the other way. But I'm not. Every time you choose someone else, it kills something inside me. Minho stepped closer, shrugging off his jacket and draping it over her shoulders. Then, what do you want me to do? I want you to choose me, just once. I want you to go 48 hours without someone else. Her voice broke. I want to feel like I'm worth choosing. He was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't respond. Then, 48 hours. She looked up. What? Give me 48 hours, no one else, just you. His hand cupped her face. I'll try. I don't know if I can, but I'll try. And if you can't? Then you'll have your answer about what I'm capable of. He brushed his thumb across her cheekbone. But if I can, if I make it 48 hours, you give me a real chance. No more locked doors, no more separate beds, you let me in. It was a gamble, she knew it. He'd probably fail within 24 hours. But the look in his eyes, the vulnerability beneath the challenge, made her want to believe. Okay, 48 hours. He kissed her forehead. Starting now. They left the restaurant together, Minho's hand on the small of her back. In the car, he made a call in Korean, his tone curt. When he hung up, she asked, What was that? Canceling plans. He met her eyes. For the next 48 hours, it's just us. Isabella's heart kicked against her ribs. She didn't let herself hope. Hope was dangerous. But something in his voice, in the way he looked at her, made her want to try. Back at the apartment, tension crackled between them. Minho poured himself a drink, then seemed to think better of it and set it down untouched. I don't know how to do this. Do what? Be present, be faithful, be what you need. He turned to face her. The women I'm with, it's transactional, physical, easy, but with you, he stopped. With me what? With you, it matters. That's why I avoid you. Because if I let myself care, if I let myself want you the way I want those other women, I'll destroy you. And you don't deserve that. Isabella moved closer. What if I'm already destroyed? What if avoiding me is worse than trying and failing? He caught her waist, pulling her against him. You're asking me to be someone I'm not. I'm asking you to be yourself, your real self, not the persona you show the world. She placed her hands on his chest, feeling his heartbeat race beneath her palms. 48 hours, Minho. Just be honest with me for 48 hours. He kissed her then, deep and claiming. Different from the angry kiss a few nights ago. This one held promise and fear and something that felt dangerously like need. Isabella melted into him, and for the first time since their wedding night, she felt desired. They made it to the bedroom this time. Minho was gentle, almost reverent in a way that surprised her. He took his time, mapping her body like it was precious. When he finally claimed her, she clung to him and tried not to think about how many other women he'd touched this way. Tried to focus on the moment, on the way he whispered her name like a prayer. Afterwards, he held her. That was new too. Usually, he'd roll away, check his phone, make excuses to leave. But now he pulled her against his chest, his fingers tracing patterns on her bare shoulder. Are you okay? Yes, she was more than okay. She felt seen, wanted, real. I hurt you before, on our wedding night. It wasn't a question. Isabella tensed. You weren't cruel, just distant. I was thinking about someone else. His confession hung in the air like a wound. I'm sorry. She should have been angry, should have pulled away. Instead, she asked, and now? Now I'm here, with you. That's all I can promise. It wasn't enough, but it was more than she'd had before. She closed her eyes, listening to his heartbeat, and tried to memorize this feeling. Because she knew, deep down, that 48 hours would end. And when they did, she'd have to decide if this small taste of his attention was worth all the times he'd choose someone else. The first day passed almost normally. Minho worked from home, taking calls in his office but coming out to find her between meetings. They had lunch together on the terrace, the spring air warm and full of promise. He told her about growing up in the Kang family, about the pressure to be perfect, the weight of expectations. She told him about her childhood in Boston, her dreams of art school that died when her father's business started failing. You wanted to be an artist. He seemed genuinely interested. I wanted to create beautiful things, but life had other plans. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Now I'm the beautiful thing someone else created, the perfect wife on paper. Minho reached across the table, taking her hand. You're more than that. Am I? She met his gaze. Because most days I feel like a ghost, like I'm haunting a life that was meant for someone else. His phone rang. He looked at it, then deliberately silenced it without checking who called. I'm here now, that's what matters. It was such a small gesture, but it meant everything. That night, they cooked dinner together. Well, Isabella cooked while Minho watched, occasionally helping in ways that made it clear he'd never spent much time in a kitchen. He was surprisingly endearing when he was trying, fumbling with ingredients, laughing when he nearly burned the rice. You're terrible at this, Isabella said, rescuing the pot before disaster struck. I have people who cook for me. He moved behind her, arms circling her waist as she stirred. But this is nice, domestic. Is that sarcasm? No, he rested his chin on her shoulder. It's different, good different. They ate at the kitchen island instead of the formal dining room, talking about nothing and everything. Minho was funny when he let himself relax, his dry humor catching her off guard. She found herself laughing, genuine laughter that felt foreign after months of practiced smiles. Later in bed, he reached for her again. This time there was less desperation, more tenderness. He learned her body, discovered what made her gasp, what made her arch into his touch. When she came apart beneath him, he watched her face like he was memorizing it, like she was precious. What are you thinking? She asked afterwards, tracing the line of his jaw. That I've been an idiot. He caught her hand, pressing a kiss to her palm. That I've had you here all along and I've been too stupid to see what I had. Do you see me now? I see you. His eyes held hers. I'm just afraid of what happens when 48 hours are up and real life comes back. Then let's not think about it. She pulled him down for another kiss. Let's just have right now. They fell asleep tangled together, and for the first time since their wedding, Isabella felt hopeful. The second day started perfectly. Minho woke her with coffee, then pulled her back to bed for slow, lazy morning intimacy that left her breathless. They showered together, his hands gentle on her skin. He dressed for the office but seemed reluctant to leave. I have meetings I can't cancel, he said, adjusting his tie. But I'll be home by 7. We'll have dinner, just us. Okay. She straightened his collar, letting her fingers linger. I'll be here. He kissed her goodbye, really kissed her, like he meant it, like she was someone he'd miss. Isabella watched from the window as his car pulled away and let herself believe that maybe, just maybe, things could be different. She spent the day doing things she'd neglected, called her mother, who gushed about how happy she sounded, worked on a painting she'd started months ago and abandoned, made dinner plans, setting the table with care. 6:30 came, then 7, then 8. By 9 o'clock, Isabella knew. She just knew. Minho came home at 11, smelling like expensive perfume that wasn't hers. He found her sitting in the dark living room, still in the dress she'd put on for dinner. The food she'd made was cold on the table, untouched. I can explain. Don't, her voice was eerily calm. Just don't. There was a situation at the office. A client dinner that ran late. I tried to call, but... You smell like her. Isabella stood. Whoever she is, you smell like her, so please don't insult me by lying. Minho's jaw clenched. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? She moved closer. Because we had 48 hours, Minho. 48 hours where you promised to try, and you couldn't even make it 40. I didn't sleep with her. But you wanted to. She saw the truth in his eyes. You wanted to, and you were probably heading there when you remembered you had a wife waiting at home. So you came back. How noble. Isabella. I was so stupid. She laughed, the sound broken. I actually thought maybe you were capable of change, that maybe I was enough to make you want to try. He grabbed her arms. You are enough, this isn't about you. Then what is it about? She pulled free. Because I don't understand, Minho. I don't understand how you can touch me like I'm precious, look at me like I matter, then do this. I don't understand how you can make me feel seen and then make me invisible again in the same breath. Because I'm broken. His voice cracked. Because I'm so fundamentally broken that I don't know how to want just one person. Every time I try, every time I think I can do this, the addiction pulls me back. It's not you, it's me. I know it's you. Tears streamed down her face. But that doesn't make it hurt less. That doesn't make me feel less worthless when you choose strangers over your own wife. Minho stepped closer, his own eyes wet. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Sorry isn't enough. She wiped her face. I need more than sorry. I need you to actually want to change, to want me more than you want them. And you don't. You can't. So where does that leave us? He pulled her into his arms, and she let him, hatting herself for it. I don't know, but please don't give up on me yet. Please. She should have said no, should have walked away. But his voice held such desperation, such raw need, that she found herself nodding against his chest. One more chance. But Minho, if you do this again, I'm done. I'll leave. Consequences for my father be damned. I can't keep breaking my own heart for you. I understand. He held her tighter. I won't mess this up again. But they both knew he was lying. You're absolutely right. Let me provide the complete second half to reach the full 10,000 words. The next few weeks existed in a strange limbo. Minho tried, Isabella could see him trying. He came home earlier, only 2 or 3 nights a week instead of every night. He'd have dinner with her, watch movies, pretend they were a normal couple. But she could feel the tension in him, the way he'd check his phone constantly, the way his leg would bounce with restless energy. He was like an addict going through withdrawal, and she was watching him suffer. On their 4-month anniversary, Minho surprised her with a weekend trip to Jeju Island. They stayed at a resort overlooking the ocean, and for 2 days it felt almost real. They walked on the beach, ate fresh seafood, made love with the windows open and the sound of waves in the background. He held her hand. He smiled at her. He was present. But on the second night, his phone rang at midnight. He looked at it, looked at her, and she saw the war in his eyes. I have to take this. No, you don't. She sat up in bed. It's midnight, Minho. Whatever it is can wait. It's about a business deal. I really need to. It's her, isn't it? One of them. Isabella's voice was flat. I can see it on your face. He didn't deny it, just stared at the ringing phone like it was a lifeline. When it finally stopped, he set it down with shaking hands. I'm trying, Isabella. I'm really trying. I know. And that was the tragedy. She could see him fighting himself, but she also saw that he was losing. But trying isn't the same as succeeding. They flew back to Seoul the next morning, the silence between them heavy. At the apartment, Minho went straight to his office and closed the door. 2 hours later, he emerged in fresh clothes, his hair wet from a shower, smelling like expensive cologne. I have to go out, don't wait up. Isabella watched him leave, then went to their bedroom and started packing. She was almost done when her phone rang. Minho's brother, Seunjun. Isabella, I'm sorry to bother you, but I thought you should know. Minho was in an accident. Her world stopped. What? He's okay. Minor collision, but he's at Seoul National Hospital getting checked out. I thought you'd want to be there. Isabella grabbed her keys with shaking hands and drove through Seoul traffic like a woman possessed. She found Min-ho in an exam room, a nurse cleaning a cut above his eyebrow. He looked up when she burst through the door, surprise flickering across his face. "What are you doing here?" Seunjun called. "He said you were in an accident." She moved closer, her hands hovering over him, checking for injuries. "Are you hurt? What happened?" "I'm fine, just a fender bender." But his voice was soft, touched by something that might have been wonder. "You came." "Of course I came. You're my husband." The words caught in her throat. "I know you don't take that seriously, but I do." Min-ho caught her wrist, pulling her between his legs as he sat on the exam table. "I wasn't on my way to see someone else." "What?" "When I left the apartment, I wasn't going to another woman, I was going to a meeting." He pulled out his phone, showing her a calendar entry. "With a therapist, someone who specializes in sex addiction." Isabella's breath caught. "You're seeing a therapist?" "I made the appointment 3 weeks ago, after I failed the 48-hour challenge." His hand trembled slightly against hers. "I didn't tell you because I didn't want to give you false hope, but I'm trying to get help, Isabella. I'm trying to understand why I'm like this, why I can't stop." Tears blurred her vision. "You're really going to therapy?" "I was on my way there when some idiot ran a red light." He gestured to his cut. "But yes, I'm going, because you're right, trying isn't enough. I need to actually change, and I can't do that without help." She threw her arms around him, holding him so tight he gasped. Thank you for trying." He held her back, his face buried in her hair. "I'm scared it won't work, that I'm too broken to fix." "Then we'll be broken together." She pulled back to look at him. "But at least we'll be trying." The doctor cleared Min-ho a few minutes later. In the car, Isabella drove while Min-ho rescheduled his therapy appointment. He reached across the console to take her hand, and for the first time in months, the touch felt like a promise instead of an apology. That night, they slept in the same bed. Just slept, Min-ho holding her against his chest like she was something precious he was afraid to lose. And maybe she was. The therapy helped, slowly. Min-ho went twice a week, sometimes coming home exhausted and raw, sometimes angry, sometimes just quiet. He talked to Isabella about what he learned, about the trauma that had shaped him, the way his father's affairs had taught him that fidelity wasn't possible, the way he'd learned to use sex as a way to feel powerful when everything else felt out of control. "My therapist says I'm afraid of intimacy," he told her one night, lying in bed with his head on her stomach. "Real intimacy, the kind that requires vulnerability, so I keep people at a distance by never letting anyone be enough." Isabella ran her fingers through his hair. "Am I enough?" "You're more than enough. That's why you're so terrifying." He looked up at her. "You make me want to be better, but what if better isn't possible? What if I'm always going to disappoint you?" "Then you disappoint me while trying, not while running away." She cupped his face. "That's all I've ever asked." He had good weeks and bad weeks. Sometimes he'd go 10 days without straying, and Isabella would feel hopeful. Then he'd disappear for a night and come home smelling like guilt, and she'd feel her heart break all over again. But he always came back, always apologized, always went to therapy and tried to understand why he'd failed again. It wasn't enough, but it was more than before. 6 months into their marriage, Isabella found out she was pregnant. She stared at the test in the bathroom, hands shaking. They'd been careful most of the time, but there'd been nights when Min-ho had been so desperate, so needy for connection, that protection had been forgotten. She'd let herself believe it didn't matter, that maybe a baby would be the thing that finally made him choose her. Now, staring at 2 pink lines, she was terrified. She told him that night over dinner. Min-ho went very still, his chopsticks frozen halfway to his mouth. "You're pregnant." "Yes." He set down his chopsticks carefully. "How long have you known?" "I took the test this morning. I wanted to be sure before I told you." She watched his face, trying to read his reaction. "Say something." "I don't know what to say." He stood, packing to the window. "A baby. We're going to have a baby." "Are you upset?" "I'm terrified." He turned to face her. "What if I'm like my father? What if I mess this up? What if I can't stop and I ruin our child's life the way my father ruined mine? Isabella stood, moving to him. You're not your father you're trying to change. You're in therapy. You're fighting this. But what if it's not enough? His voice cracked. What if I'm still sleeping around when our child is old enough to understand? What if I humiliate you in front of our baby the way my father humiliated my mother in front of me? She took his face in her hands. Then we'll deal with it, together. But Min-ho, you've been doing better. You've gone 2 weeks without anyone else. That's progress. 2 weeks isn't enough. I need to be better than this. He pulled her against him, his hand moving to her still flat stomach. I need to be someone our child can be proud of. Then keep trying, keep going to therapy, keep fighting. She pressed a kiss to his jaw. I believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself. He held her for a long time, and when he finally pulled back, his eyes were wet. I'm going to be a father. Yes. I don't know how to do that. Neither do I, she smiled. We'll figure it out together. That night, Min-ho made love to her with a tenderness that stole her breath. His hands on her stomach, his lips whispering promises she wasn't sure he could keep. But she wanted to believe. God, she wanted to believe. The pregnancy changed something in Min-ho. He became almost obsessive about Isabella's health, making sure she ate properly, took her vitamins, rested enough. He went to every doctor's appointment, holding her hand while they looked at ultrasounds, his face a mixture of awe and terror. That's our baby, he whispered, staring at the screen showing their 12-week scan. That's really our baby. Yes, Isabella squeezed his hand. Are you okay? I'm scared, he met her eyes. But I'm also happy. Is that possible to be both at once? I think that's parenthood, she smiled, being scared and happy at the same time. He kissed her there in the doctor's office, in front of the technician and nurses, like he didn't care who saw, like she was someone he was proud to claim. The good stretch lasted almost 3 weeks. 3 weeks of Min-ho coming home every night, of family dinners and plans for the nursery, of baby names and hope. Isabella let herself believe that maybe the baby was the motivation he needed, that maybe becoming a father would finally make him capable of fidelity. Then came the charity gala. It was a massive event. All of Seoul's elite gathered to raise money for children's hospitals. Isabella wore a navy maternity gown, her baby bump just starting to show. Min-ho kept his hand on her lower back all evening, introducing her to business associates, looking like the proud husband and father-to-be. Then an actress approached them, young, beautiful, with the kind of confidence that came from being desired. She greeted Min-ho with the familiarity of someone who'd been intimate with him, and Isabella felt her stomach drop. Min-ho, it's been too long. The actress's hand lingered on his arm. We should catch up. Min-ho's expression didn't change. I'm here with my wife. Of course. The actress's eyes slid to Isabella's stomach, something like disdain flickering across her face. Congratulations on the pregnancy. How domestic. Isabella felt the claws beneath the words. Thank you. We're very excited. The actress smiled, sharp and knowing. I'm sure. Min-ho always did love new challenges. After she walked away, Isabella turned to Min-ho. Who was that? No one important. Don't lie to me. I could see it on her face. You were with her. His jaw tightened. Past tense, before you. Before me when, before our wedding, before I got pregnant, or before last week. She saw the answer in his eyes. Last week. You were with her last week. Isabella. She walked away before he could finish, pushing through the crowd toward the exit. The bathroom was her destination, but she only made it to the hallway before the tears came. She pressed her hand to her mouth, trying to hold back the sobs, but they came anyway. Crying at charity events, how embarrassing. Isabella spun to find another woman watching her, older elegant, with eyes that held cruel amusement. Who are you? Choi Mi-sun, Min-ho's father's longtime mistress. She smiled. I've been watching you all evening playing the devoted wife. It's sweet, naive but sweet. I'm not interested in your opinion. No, but you need to hear it anyway. Mi-sun moved closer. You think the baby will change him. They never do. I've been with his father for 25 years. His mother has known about me for 24, and she stays because that's what we do. We endure. I'm not her. No, you're younger, more idealistic. But you'll learn. Men like the Kang family, they're not capable of fidelity. It's not in their nature. The sooner you accept that, the less it will hurt. Get away from me. Isabella's voice shook. Mi-sun shrugged. I'm trying to help you. Save yourself years of heartbreak and just accept reality. He's never going to change. The baby won't change him. Your tears won't change him. Nothing will change him. She walked away, leaving Isabella alone in the hallway. The words echoed in her head, mixing with months of hurt and disappointment. Minho wasn't going to change. She'd been fooling herself thinking a baby would be different. She found him still at the gala, talking with business associates. He saw her and his expression shifted to concern. Isabella. Take me home. Her voice was flat. Now. They didn't speak during the car ride. At the apartment, Isabella went straight to the bedroom and started packing. Minho appeared in the doorway, his face pale. What are you doing? What I should have done months ago. She threw clothes into a suitcase. I'm leaving. You can't, you're pregnant. Which is exactly why I need to leave. I won't raise my child in a house where they watch their father cheat on their mother. I won't become like your mother, pretending everything is fine while dying inside. Minho crossed the room in 3 strides, grabbing the suitcase from her hands. Please don't do this. I made a mistake. 1 mistake in 3 weeks. That's better than before. 1 mistake? Minho, it's never 1 mistake. It's a pattern, a lifetime of choosing everyone else over me. She pulled the suitcase back. I can't do this anymore. I've tried. God knows I've tried, but I can't keep breaking my heart for you. Then let me break for you. He dropped to his knees in front of her, his hands on her stomach. Please, I'm begging you. Give me 1 more chance. Let me prove I can change. For you, for our baby, please. She looked down at him, this proud man on his knees, and felt her resolve crack. I've given you so many chances. I know, and I've wasted all of them, but this time will be different, I swear it. He pressed his forehead to her stomach. I'll do anything, quit my job, leave Seoul, move to another country, whatever you need to feel safe with me. I need you to want me more than you want them. Her voice broke. I need to be enough. You are enough, you're everything. He looked up at her. Tears streaming down his face. I'm the one who's not enough, but I'm trying. Please believe that I'm trying. She cupped his face, her own tears falling. I want to believe you. I want to so badly, but I'm so tired of hurting. Then let me take the hurt. He stood, pulling her against him. Let me carry it. Let me fix this. Just don't leave. Please don't leave me. She should have said no, should have walked away. But she felt their baby moving between them, felt the weight of every promise they'd made, every moment of hope. If I stay, things have to change, really change, not just for 3 weeks, but forever. They will, I'll make them. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. I'll be better, I'll be what you need, what our baby needs. And if you can't, then you leave and I don't fight it. I give you everything, the apartment, money, full custody, whatever you want. His voice was fierce. But please give me the chance to try. Isabella closed her eyes, feeling the last of her resistance crumble. Okay, 1 last chance. But Minho, if you do this again, I'm gone. No more chances, no more trying, just done. I understand. He held her tighter. You won't regret this, I promise. But as she let him unpack her suitcase, as she let him lead her to bed and hold her while she cried, a part of her knew she was making a mistake. Knew that men like Minho didn't change, no matter how much they wanted to. Knew that she was setting herself up for more heartbreak. She just didn't know how much more she could take before she finally broke completely.